The church I go to, every Mass says a prayer that starts like this: Almighty Father, you have created us for some definite purpose. Grant us the grace to know the path you have planned for us in this life and to respond with a generous yes. My mission for the last quarter of my life and the purpose of Christian Teams Excel is to help people and businesses and churches and organizations discover and fulfill the answer to that prayer. So let me tell you, let's just break that down a little bit. You were created for some definite purpose. Yes, you and your business or your church or whatever it may be, we all have a life, and so do organizations. They have a life, and that life was created for a purpose by the same Almighty God that created the universe. And that purpose, fulfilling that purpose, makes your life an incredible adventure that Peter Pan will be jealous of, but you've got to commit. You can keep your life for yourself and live it in this world if you want to. That's your choice. Or you can give it back to God. And when you give it back to God, then you get started on this grand adventure that, like I said, Peter Pan will be jealous. It's amazing. God did not create you for a mundane, boring, meaningless life. You were created for a definite purpose. But you see, now there's a real problem with this, because also in this world, Satan is real. Satan, for the time being, is the prince of this world. He hates you. He hates your family. He hates everyone you know. He is destined for hell, and he intends to take you, everyone you know, and all your dreams and adventures straight to hell with him. And he's doing a pretty good job, because really, all he has to do, we all sin, right? So we're starting out in his corner, and then he fills this world with this noise and busyness, and we can't hear the message of salvation, and we can't function. We're so busy. And then he makes us think that if we just have our own way and do our own thing and have our own fun, that we're going to have a great life here on earth. And what we really see, look around you. This world is dark. It delivers so little, and we get lost in its meaninglessness. Suicides are up. The world's a mess. It's a dark, dark place. And we still have to make that choice. You know, if you want to keep one foot in the dark place, you're not going to go very far on an adventure with God. But it's your choice to make. That's the world Satan's created, and he wants you to keep you in that world for all eternity. But therein also lies our greatest current opportunity. You see, in a dark world like that, all we have to do, if you live that passionate life that Jesus created you to live, where you love with passion, you have a cause that is greater than yourself and more meaningful than yourself, and you work toward that cause, and you smile, and you are alive for God, you'll stand out like a sore thumb in this dark world. I mean, you're going to be a burning torch, right? So people will see you for miles around. You don't have to get a megaphone and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ on the corner. Not that I say that's a bad thing. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is live a life with the power and joy and excitement and passion of Jesus Christ, and people will seek you out. And when they do, you say, oh yeah, I'd say, you go live for Christ. Here, come to the church I go to, whatever it may be. You see, I call that countercultural Christianity. And the darker Satan's made the world, and I'm 60 years old, and right now I firmly believe that the world is as dark as it's ever been. It's like you turn on a flashlight in a bright room, you can't hardly see a beam. But if you turn on a flashlight in the dark, you can light your way, and you can light other people's way too. And that's the situation we're lucky enough to find ourselves in. But we have to boldly live a countercultural life. And the great thing is that countercultural life is a fantastic life. And not just us. If you own a business, it's not really your business. It's God's business you happen to be the steward of. If you run a church, It's got a life of its own, and it was created by God for a definite purpose, to be boldly, counterculturally different than this dark world that we're in. And there are methods to do this. Now, Satan tries to keep us from doing this by three main things, in my opinion. I said three, I guess I'm at three, right? So three main things, and that is, one, he wants to convince you that either you weren't created for some definite purpose, or you don't know what it is, and you're confused and you never figure it out. So there goes that grand life. And two, let's say you do kind of figure that out, at least you got a good idea of it, or maybe you've even articulated it really well, but you don't either know how or take the time to make definite plans to get you there. And then there's this final piece, and this is a big piece. You don't have people around you who you meet with great regularity, who know your purpose and know your plans, and they'll, one, support you, and two, more importantly, they will hold you accountable. Those three things. That's the teen part of Christian Teams Excel. So that's what we want to do. That's my mission. That's where we're going. That's Christian Teams Excel. Now, I've got one final message, and this is for my Catholic brothers and sisters, because I was raised Catholic, and there's no getting it out of me, folks, and you don't want it to anyways. And I mean no offense to anybody who's not Catholic. Doesn't mean all that, everything I've said doesn't apply to you or anything along those lines. It's just that I know something about these people. And I know something about the Catholic Church. And I want to tell you, especially maybe in the area I'm in, the Catholic Church right now seems to be a little down and a little divided over some things. And maybe a little is not the right way to say it. However, I think of all the 60 years that I've been a member of the exact same parish, our future has never been so bright. Our opportunity has never been so grand, because if we're going to attract people out of the world and back to Christ by being countercultural, can you think of an organization that is more countercultural than the Catholic Church? Not going to go into all of it, but let's just take a couple things. Let's look at the sacraments. We have a Mass. You go to that Mass now, you'll see people going to confession during Mass. Confession, wow, that's a wonderful thing. Concept is kind of mind-blowing, but it's different. It's very different than the rest of the world. You don't admit your faults. You hide them, right? And then we go to this, we have a marriage. Think about the marriage thing. All right. In the world, we have, hey, let's have a good time. We've got casual sex and friends with benefits and all that kind of stuff. Whoa. In the Catholic Church, we get two people together and we have them swear before God and ask God to bless their union and make them one. And then when they have sex, they are taking part in an act that they know could create a new soul who will spend all eternity, hopefully, with God and in communion with God, but quite possibly Satan will drag that person to hell too. But we believe that in marriage, sex is not a casual thing with benefits. No, we are participating with God in the creation of another person, eternal being, who is the greatest of God's creations. It's a wonderful thing. That's as countercultural as it's going to get, except one other thing. We've got this Eucharist thing. So to the world, we look like a bunch of silly people going up and eating a little piece of bread and thinking it's a big deal. But what to us, what we know it is the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ. Now, where else out there in the world, there's not even a God to be in communion with? Food is nothing except something that's going to make us obese. But in the Catholic Church, it is to totally consume and be one with the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ. So, you Catholics out there, let's not worry about closing those churches, all right? What we have before us is the opportunity to fill those churches like I've never seen before. We can stand out from the crowd. We have to seize the moment, fill the churches. I honestly believe that before I pass away, we are going to see churches that have twice as many members as they do now. We're going to baptize not just tens, maybe even hundreds of people on during the Easter season. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so that's what the fourth quarter of my life is up to, and that's what Christian Teams Excel's all about. And thank you for your time. Join, become a member of Christian Teams Excel just so you can keep up with what's going on. And I hope and pray that each and every one of you would be lit on fire with the passion and have an adventure that I have had and will continue to have. God bless you all.